Hello, konnichiwa, this is Itsunang, and we are back with new Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony, Chapter 3, Deadly Life, or not even Deadly Life, Class Trial Preparation. Messing up right from the beginning. Oh, this is a great start. Yes, just like last chapter, we will start by just taking a look at the skills, the handbook, and everything, so that in the next chapter we can begin the trial, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, let's just read the text. So, core preparation, chapter 3, transfer student from beyond the grave. We have our two lovely girls who have met their fate. In an attempt to resurrect the dead, Angie is killed. During a seance to search for answers. Wait, I think I can. No. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. To search during a seance to search for answers. Tenko is killed. Are the two related? Question mark. The third trial begins. Sure, yeah. Okay, so let's check out the skills. There aren't that many skills that I can actually get because of how little friendship fragments I have. So yeah, I think, yeah, we've already read through these. And there weren't that many skills that I really wanted from the casino either. So let's see. Oh, I can set this now because I have more slots. I couldn't set it before because I didn't have enough levels. But yeah, I got 84. We got lots of room. Let's see. Silences all conversation except those radicals on. I kind of want this one. It's 4, and I was initially going to save up to get, which one was it? One of these. I think cool. No. I think, yeah, I wanted to get this. But I guess we'll go for. Yeah, I would like this so that we can listen to everyone each separately, so that, yeah, we can go through them all. Well, do I want it? Yeah, I'll get it, sure. And let's do that. So now we got all of these, lots of focus, lots of influence. The reticle won't shake, which is honestly the best skill you could ever get. Laser beam increases the speed of fire truth bullets. The focus gauge shrinks slower while concentrating, which is also really good. Makes the silencer fire rapidly, which is great. Reveals V spots and silences all conversations. Okay. Now we can check the truth bullets. We'll start with that. So yeah, this is pink. Yeah. Let's get started. Let's 3. Monokuma File 3. The victim is the ultimate artist, Angie Yonaga. Actually, before I do this, I was debating this. That's why I kind of stuttered. But I want to change the wrong spot. I want to change the handbook design, because why not? So yeah, right now we have it as the XL silhouette, which I really like. I like how colorful it is. But I think we'll change it to the girls' school badge, because we did the boys last chapter, but this chapter, a lot of girls' lives were lost. So yeah, I really like this shade of pink. It's very nice. And we have all the girls' beautiful badges with Kaede's right in the middle. And then, let's see if I can point out any other ones. I think the one on the right, the bigger one on the right is Maki, I think, because I'm pretty sure she has a flower pattern one. And then the middle one on the left, closer to Kaede's badge, I think that's Tsumugi's. And then I'm not quite sure about the others. Yeah, or maybe the bottom one's Maki. I'm not sure. Yeah, they're all very pretty. I really like the designs of the badges. I wish they did more with the badges. But, yeah. So let's, yeah, I really like it. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm saying. I've said yeah like 10,000 times. So let's get started with the truth bullets. Monokuma File 3. The victim is the ultimate artist, Angie Yonaga. The victim's body was discovered in the Ultimate Artist Research Lab. The time of death is approximately 2 a.m. The victim was killed by a fatal stab wound to the torso. Additionally, she has lacerations on her forehead. The second victim is the ultimate Aikido master, Tenko Chabashira. The victim's body was discovered in a vacant room on the 4th floor. The estimated time of death is 11 a.m. The victim was stabbed in the back of her neck, resulting in death. No other injuries were detected. Tsumugi's account. Angie had locked herself in the Ultimate Artist Lab since yesterday, working on the ritual. She would not unlock the door unless someone from the student council asked her to. The student council members were Gonta, Kibo, Himiko, Tenko, and Tsumugi. So those are kind of the suspect if you think it's someone from the student council. Art lab front door. This door has a cylindrical lock. Monodam swallowed the only key, so it can only be locked and unlocked from inside the lab. Before Angie's body was found, the door was locked, but Kokichi opened it by picking the lock. Art lab back door. Oh, it's cool that they're showing like the inside of the door. I guess it's easier to tell the difference. This door has a sliding lock. When Angie's body was found, the sliding lock was locked from the inside. The handle of the sliding lock moves at the slightest touch. Something gold and shiny was on the handle. Then Kokichi's lockpicking. Kokichi can lock and unlock the front door of the Ultimate Artist Lab with his lockpicking skills. Effigies hung upside down. The 4 wax effigies that were created for the resurrection ritual. They are exact replicas of the late Rontaro, Kaede, Ryoma, and Kurumi. They were hung upside down from the ceiling beams in the Ultimate Artist Lab. The Necronomicon. The book Monokuma prepared as a motive, Angie attempted to carry out the book's resurrection ritual. The Necronomicon Resurrection Ritual. Prepare an effigy of the dead soul you wish to contact. Everyone may participate. The size and shape of the effigy is irrelevant. Make it out of whatever materials you wish. You can make them out of cheese or, yeah, anything you want. If it's not obvious who the effigy is supposed to be, label it with the name of the deceased. After preparing the effigy, burn this Necronomicon to ashes. Most important. Use caution. Be mindful of carbon monoxide poisoning. Thank you, Monokuma. Sprinkle the ashes of the effigy on the effigy and repeat the name of the deceased 3 times. Then close your eyes and wait. After a while, you should feel a light tap on your back. If so, that means the ritual was a success. The ashes are only good for 1 use. The ritual can only be performed once, so use it wisely. And then Gold Leaf Katana. It was stabbed into the hung Kaede effigy. Oh, the fact that it's hung too. Because the katana is so old, the handle's gold leaf rubs off easily. There was blood on the tip. It was taken from the Ultimate Anthropologist's lab, so only the sheath was left in the display case. Anyone could have entered the lab. Try to bring suspicion away from Kyo. Forehead injury. Considering the laceration, the injury on the victim's forehead was not bleeding as much as it should. Yeah. Bloody piece of duct tape stuck to her hair. The blood on it had already dried. The blood that was flowing from the back of Angie's neck created a pool. Fun. The Cage Child. In order to perform the Cage Child, you need 5 people, including the spirit medium, a dark place with no light. First, draw the magic circle passed down from the Cage Dog village on the ground. Then, the spirit medium must place their forehead on a stone and curl up like a turtle. They must do this at the center of the circle. After, the other 4 must make the following preparations. Place the iron cage over the spirit medium. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. Okay. And then place the iron cage over the spirit medium, and then cover that cage with a white cloth. Finally, place a dog god on top of the cage. Take care not to step on the magic circle during preparations. Finally, turn off all lights to make it completely dark and your preparations will be complete. The seance will commence once all 4 participants stand at the corners of the room. The 4 participants, not including the spirit medium, will sing the Caged Child song. After the song, ask, "Is the caged child?" Then say the name of the spirit. The spirit medium will reply with the voice of the spirit you have summoned. Kibo's flashlight function. A function that Miu had added to Kibo. He can emit a blinding light from his eyes. I wonder why. I forget why that's so truthful. Sound during seance. During the seance, there was a loud sound while it was completely dark. Dog statue. The wooden statue that was put on top of the iron cage during the seance. It weighs about 175 pounds, which is, according to Shuichi, the weight of 2 girls. Shuichi, Kokichi, Kyo, and Himiko worked together to put it up and remove it from the cage. White sheet. The sheet that was over the iron cage during the seance. It's very thick and cannot be seen through. There's blood on the back around the middle of the sheet, but there's no hole in the fabric. Kyo was the one who placed the sheet over the cage and removed it off the cage. That's not the only thing he moved. Magic circle Korekyo drew. A magic circle that was drawn with salt. It was drawn on the floor of the room where the seance was held. After Tenko's body was found, the magic circle was trampled on. That made it impossible to check its original shape. Iron cage. The iron cage that Tenko was in during the seance. It is around 3 feet high and 5 feet wide. Shuichi and Kokichi placed this over Tenko, and Himiko removed it. Tenko's blood was on the bottom of the cage. Marker stone. The stone that was by Tenko's body during the seance. Tenko had been crouched over in the iron cage with her forehead on the stone. Oh. Loose floorboard. The loose floorboard right below Tenko. It was not loose before the seance. There was dried blood on the bottom part of the floorboard. Tenko's last moments. Tenko died in a crouched position. The injury on the back of her neck was deep, but probably not enough to kill her immediately. Aww. Hole in the corner. A hole that was in the corner of the room where the seance was held. There's space under the floor, so you can see what was dropped there. Dried blood under the floor. A small amount of blood that was on the ground under the floor of the room the seance was held in. It was quite far from where Tenko's blood was dripping. The sickle under the floor. The sickle that was under the floor of the room the seance was held in. The weapon came from the Ultimate Assassin's lab. The blade was about 6 inches and the blood was still wet. Crosspiece under the floor. One of the crosspieces that supports the loose floorboard in the room of the seance. The seance was held in. Only the portion that supports the floorboard was cut off. It wasn't broken naturally. It looked like someone had purposefully cut it. Bloody Kokichi, my favorite. While Kokichi was investigating the neighboring room from where the seance was held, he had stepped through one of the floorboards. That room also has a part of crosspiece cut off, the portion that supported the floorboard. Okay, sweet. So that is those were all of the truth bullets this trial. Now there's no presents really. I guess we're gonna check the school rules first. So yeah, I'll just skip through this. Re-executed, re-enter the outside world, continue until there are only 2, nighttime. Violence towards Monokuma is prohibited. Monokuma will never directly commit a murder. Monopads are very important, don't damage them. The body discovery announcement will play with your murder students. Discover a body with minimal restriction. You are free to explore campus. Students who violate these rules will be immediately exterminated by the exit swimming is prohibited at nighttime, and if 2 different murders by different murderers occur at the same time, only the one whose victim was found first will be the blackened. So yeah, okay. And in this case, of course, that would be Tenko, or no, I'm sorry. That would be Angie's culprit. Yeah, it would have been really cool if we had 2 separate blackens, like someone else, like for example, someone else killed Angie and then Kyo was the one who killed Tenko, but we would have to live with Kyo for a certain amount of time. Kyo would become the new Nagito, but yeah, that would have been cool. That would be neat. And if it were just because Kyo didn't reveal his whole thing about his backstory or anything like that until after we found out that he was the one who murdered Angie, and once he felt like he was actually going to die. So we wouldn't even know that he's a serial killer who targets girls. It would just be that he targeted whoever went in the cage. I mean, of course, he did want a girl, but yeah. So that's fun. Yeah, that would have been another interesting turn of events, which we didn't get, which again causes despair. Very fun, Danganronpa. Okay, so we have many flower petals. Only 2 per person, but it's still something. So, okay. Now let's go through and see who we suspect, or who I think would be the highest suspects, and why, and who I've seen other people suspect. So, Shuichi, obviously nobody suspects him. He didn't do anything creepy like Kaede did. Or not exactly creepy, but he just didn't do anything that would suggest that he has like any sort of malice towards Angie or Tenko, so he's obviously safe. And he was obviously, yeah, like we didn't do anything bad. And then Kaito, on the other hand, he hasn't really done anything this investigation, which makes him really suspicious. We didn't know where he was the entire time. So he is very, like, he's a very high suspect, but story-wise, like, it wouldn't make sense for Kaito to kill Tenko or Angie. Like, there's no real reason for him to do that, especially after helping out Maki and Shuichi like this. Like, you wouldn't expect him to die in this kind of way that is completely unrelated to him as a character so far. Like, there's no reason to really suspect him that much. But if you don't know who else to suspect, then, like, initially, yeah, like, what was Kaito doing? Was he really all that scared, or was he just making up an excuse to hug Maki and run away from doing work? Yeah. But I do like the fact that it does say that his dislike is the occult, so it does make sense that he was scared. And then Ryoma, I don't really suspect him. Like, it's a big floorboard. He doesn't seem like the type who would just go out and kill 2 girls. It's just not his character. Rontaro, he's too pure. He would never do something like this. Gonta, I don't think a lot of people suspect Gonta, just because, like, yeah, he really hasn't done much this chapter. Like, last chapter he did the insect meet and greet and stuff like that. But this chapter, he's kind of just been there. He joined the student council on a whim, but, like, he's too innocent to do something like this, and it just doesn't make sense for him to have killed either Angie or Tenko unless he had a whole completely different character change midway through. Kokichi, I mean, he's kind of like the obvious, quote-unquote obvious answer because of the whole lockpicking thing. Like, it's too obvious for it to be him. It's too obvious for him to have done the lockpicking. And he hasn't done much this chapter. This chapter has been pretty focused on certain characters, and those characters being Angie, Tenko, and Himiko. And I guess you could also say Kyo. But yeah, so he, like, you can't expect to lose a character of his status in a chapter 3 death without, like, it having much meaning behind it or, like, build up. Like, I've been able to point out the things about, like, how Kokichi might feel about the whole student council thing and how, like, angry he was, but that didn't, like, last long, or it wasn't so extreme, or it was never pointed out or anything like that. So yeah. Korekiyo, well, I don't know what to say, but yeah, I think a lot of people suspect Kyo mainly because the game has suggested it a few times, which may throw people off that, oh, he's the obvious answer, so it's not him. Turns out the game throws it back at you. Turns out it is him. But yeah, it is kind of obvious that Kyo's a high suspect since, you know, not just, well, like, the whole seance was his idea. He pushed it all chapter long. His research lab has opened up, so obviously makes sense that, like, he can die anytime. And yeah, he was just so hyper-fixated on the seance. Like, it feels too obvious, but the fact that it is him just makes it all that much more better. And yeah, so, but I do see a bunch of people suspect him and get it right, which, yeah, like, you have to have one. And I do think that, like, Kyo's kind of twist is interesting, and the fact that, like, yeah, Kyo's great at manipulating people just as much as Angie or even Kokichi. And we saw that a lot during the investigation, as well as later on in the trial when he pretends that like when he confesses that he's a culprit for Tenko's case, but you can't vote for him type thing. Like, I don't know, I thought that's really cool. Next, we have Kibo. I do see a few people suggest that it, or think that it's Kibo because of the whole light thing, that he has. It's kind of interesting that in the CG of him, like, the light is coming from his palm, the palm of his hand, when it actually comes out of his eyes. But, obviously that would be a little too creepy. Anyway, unrelated. But yeah, I do think that a lot of people suspect Kibo for well, it's not exactly obvious. Kibo is just like Gonta. He hasn't done anything at all this chapter, even less than Gonta almost. He's really just been there. He was a part of the student council from the beginning, and yeah, he hasn't made a huge difference in the story, so you can't see him going away like that, or like in this chapter without any other reason. But yeah, so Kibo I think is like kind of in the middle of, you can suspect him as kind of in some ways like a safe-ish bet because of the light thing and how Shuichi suggested that you need a light, or I think Maki suggested underneath the floorboards that to get to one room to the other you would need a light. But other than that, there's not much reason to suspect him at all. Kirumi, she's definitely the culprit. She's the one that took over Tenko's body during the seance and committed seppuku in order to attempt to escape in that way. It doesn't make sense, but yeah. I'm just kidding. Himiko, well, yeah, actually, if I were playing this game blind, I might suspect Himiko. Not really. I don't know who I would suspect, but like Himiko would be up there just because, like, I don't know, I personally really like seeing those kinds of twist things where like the person who you thought was really like mourning and sad turns out to be the like evil killer. I kind of like those kinds of things. So I could see that with Himiko. I also definitely cannot. Just because of her character and how much, or like her effect this past chapter. She's also not an obvious culprit, because unlike the last chapter, in chapter 2, everyone was pushing that, oh, it's Himiko. But in this one, like, they don't bring that up until later on in the trial that, oh wait, well, Himiko's the one that made this decision, and this and this and this. Which I think is kind of interesting too, that like, yeah, maybe it is Himiko, but it isn't. And that just kind of adds salt to the wound for Himiko. So she is mourning, she's very sad. But yeah, so Himiko is another safe bet for the culprit. I think, yeah. Well, I'll say the ranking at the end. Maki, I don't think anyone suspects her. Maki hasn't done anything really all that bad. Or no, I shouldn't say that. Maki has had a lot of character development this chapter, which is why you can't see her dying off in this kind of way. Like, she's helped Shuichi out so much in the investigation. She's shown her like true self more thanks to Kaito and Shuichi. So you just can't see her just going out and killing someone. Yeah. And I'm actually kind of surprised that Maki is never really suspected in this chapter, or this trial, even though, like, in the beginning everyone feared her for being this ultimate assassin, but turns out she's actually the one helping to save everyone. And then Tenko, Okay, I will say this. I would have been a lot more interested if they did go along with the one theory that the characters have in the trial. I forget if Kokichi or someone else brings it up, but the theory that Tenko might have been the one that killed Angie, and then she felt bad, so she killed herself. I don't know, I really thought that was interesting how, like, that could be a possibility, and it's kind of evil in some ways to, like, trick everyone, and especially tricking Himiko, but yeah, or even if it's just that Tenko killed Angie, but then Korekio killed Tenko, like, out of coincidence, that would have been great. Like, Tenko wanted to atone for killing Angie by doing the seance and doing that for Himiko, but then turns out like during the seance she herself gets killed. I don't know, I feel like that's really interesting. I would have loved for that to actually happen, and then of course Kyo would be the culprit since he killed Tenko, but then again that wouldn't really go with the rule of the first come first serve. I don't know, I just thought that would be pretty damn cool. So yes, Tsumugi, again, just like Kibo and Gonta, hasn't done absolutely anything at all. So she's just kind of out there. There's no reason to suspect her in the first place. She is the one that, like, suspects Tenko and also, or suspected Tenko first, and then keeps pushing that, like, ghost theory. But other than that, she doesn't really, yeah. Then Angie, I mean, I do see how some people can think that Angie did it to herself, but it doesn't make that much sense, or because of, like, the whole artsy feeling of, like, having the effigies hung up behind her, and like she would have been able to lock the door herself and yada yada yada, but I can't see that with Angie. I just can't, because, like, she wants to help everyone. She wouldn't mess it up by, like, leaving herself, I guess you could say like that. And then Miu did, like, make the whole thing for Kibo, so she would be able to create, like, a light or something. She would be the one to have that kind of light source and bring it in. So I guess, yeah, Miu's kind of in the middle again, but Miu hasn't done much. There was that whole computer thing, so Miu could have maybe, like, killed. Again, there's no reason for her to do it. And yeah, not without her getting a bit more development or anything like that. And then the obvious answer, Kaede. Yes, Kaede is the one who killed Tenko and Angie because she wanted more friends, and yeah. Kaede wanted to kill the mastermind and thought that killing 2 people before a trial would be the better choice. So yes, Kaede is the culprit. Enough joking. Yeah, so I think the top 3 would be, number 1, I do see a lot of people suspect Kyo, so it would be Kyo first, and then number 2, I would probably say Himiko, and then number 3, I've seen some people suspect Kibo, and then nah, I don't see a lot of people suspect Tenko. So maybe, like, yeah, number 1, Kyo, number 2, Himiko, and then number 3 is just, like, an out there shot of whoever. Okay, so let's just quickly check the free time. Oh yeah, I couldn't get a free time vent for Angie, which really sucked. Yeah, I really wanted to do a free time vent with Angie, but because of the whole student council doesn't want to hang out with you thing, I wasn't able to. But Angie will be a very high top priority for once I finish this game in the bonus mode. I definitely want to do Angie near the beginning. And then, okay, so we have Tenko though. Tenko, level 1. I tried to uncover the origin of Tenko's intense hatred of men, but all she offered was ways in which she hates them. I also tend to get thrown a lot when speaking to her. This is pretty serious. Oh my god, I just... I love how Shuichi like has this in his notes that like, oh, today I try to uncover the origin of Tenko's intense hatred of men. But all she offered was ways to in which she hates them. But like the line, I also tend to get thrown a lot when speaking to her. Just casually writing that. I love Shuichi. Okay, level 2. Tenko told me the story of how she was sent to a temple to train as a child, to rid her of her excess energy. Is that what he calls it? The chief priest became her master, and they developed Neo Aikido together. It was quite confusing. Aww, that's nice, yeah. Just by level 2, Tenko was able to open up more to Shuichi, which is really nice. So yeah, overall, I think I've said it too many times, but Tenko, I really think is a great character. It is hard to like her. In some ways, I really don't like her hatred of men. It kind of goes too far, and it wasn't able to develop at all. Like, that part didn't get developed at all, or it kind of did. She was getting a bit better, especially around, like, Shuichi. And, like, the male characters she somewhat respects, like, she wanted to... yeah. Like, she was getting close, okay? She was getting very close. And, of course, like, her values and stuff, other than the whole men thing, is... yeah, it's nice, and like the message that she gave Himiko, and one of my favorite things about Tenko is how quick she is to get on with the work that she has to do. Like, she got in a small fight with Himiko, but immediately she cheered herself up and was ready to apologize and go talk to Himiko. Yeah, I think that's a very important thing to take from Tenko, is like that, and also that like it's okay to show emotion, it's okay to feel your feelings, it's what they're for. So yeah, overall Tenko, great character, definitely deserved a lot better treatment in game and just in general. Yeah, Tenko as a survivor is something that I very much wish happened. And then we have Kyo, the other person we did the breakdown event with. Level 1. Anthropology is the study of humans expressing their humanity. Folktales only exist where there are folk. So that weird. Kyo has a way of explaining things that make it easy to understand. Yeah, he'd be a great teacher. Yeah, he could make like history, anthropology, and all that, like geography and stuff, so much more interesting than how they do in school. Level 2. He has different bathing, sleeping, and even an exercising masks. That sounds weird. When I expressed my surprise at this, he told me he would open my mind with anthropology. Creepy. I'm not even gonna comment on like the whole cookie situation with how he eats that. No? Okay. Oh yeah, I think that was very nice. Yeah, Kyo is another really good character. I really like his mannerisms, how he does show emotion, and I think it's more... like, he shows more emotion in the Japanese one, I think, just because of, like, his tone of voice and stuff. Like, he genuinely sounds angry or, like, mad at times, which is kind of harder to tell in the English one. Yeah, and Kyo is very helpful in trials and other stuff. Like, he never goes out of his way to make life harder for the other students. He always goes along with whatever they're doing, adds his input, and some such. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like we'll see later on in the trial, but I feel like it's an interesting twist, to say the least. I won't say I love it, but, you know, it's something. It does make him pretty interesting. But I feel like he was interesting enough to begin with that he didn't need this. He definitely did not need this kind of like development that we see in the trial, but it's still cool to think of him as like he's an actual serial killer. You could get along with genocide or show. But yeah, so I think that is all that I have to show for this chapter, or this trial I should say. Yeah, so let me know what your theories were when you first got to chapter 3, who you thought was the culprit. Okay. I can't talk. Who you thought was the culprit, and all those sorts of things. Yeah, I'd love to hear them. I personally have no idea who I would suspect. yeah, it's hard to think of who I would suspect because I already know what happens. That's kind of a bummer that I never got to really have that kind of experience. But, I don't know, I like the theory with, like, Tenko doing it to Anchi and then Kyo doing it to Tenko, or, yeah. But, yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next episode where we will start the third trial. Bye!